Vision is the compass that directs our life's journey, transforming seemingly insignificant moments into a coherent narrative. It's not merely about seeing the path ahead, but understanding the intricate web of stories and stepping stones that shape our destiny. Every triumph becomes a chapter, and every trial becomes a lesson, not an ending. But without this clarity, the inevitable question arises, where do you go from here? It was 1968, and I remember the very first game. My father and mother were heading out. They were going out for dinner, so they sent me downstairs. My dad gave me a pack of hockey cards. I ripped open that pack of hockey cards. I turned on the TV, and on that black and white TV was that guy in front of me in that hockey card. And I looked at that guy and I went, wow, this is so cool. So this is the first house in North Bay. We moved here in 1967. So this is the driveway where I played road hockey every day. We used to have a metal garage door, and my dad had to get it changed before we moved because I had all the puck dents. And one Christmas, it was probably around 1970, my dad bought me a hockey net, my first road hockey net. And everybody used to just come and drill, and all the girls from school would come, 7, 8 different kids from our grade 3 and 4 classes, and they'd all come and cheer us on. And we'd play on a Saturday morning. We'd start at around 7 or 8 in the morning. All we would do is play until dark every single day. Back during the expansion days of the NHL, they would have an exhibition game here. Prior to the expansion, only 100 players played. 90% of them were from Northern Ontario. Coming into the Memorial Gardens here in North Bay, there was walls of photos and banners of all the icons that had played here. And Still Apps, the Canna Geezers, Kenny Worms. Those became like beacons for me, feeling like you're being surrounded by greatness. Tim Horton was one of those guys.
I remember back in the late 60s and the early 70s, anytime we came down to a game here, it was an amazing event. The way people dressed and the hustle and bustle within the city, this was the happening thing in the city of Toronto. And all the men would wear suits and ties and hats. The very first time I came into Maple Leaf Gardens was a game against the Boston Bruins, and there was a young defenseman that had just come out named Bobby Orr. And he was being introduced to the league by the likes of Pat Quinn and Tim Horton. I believe it was 1973, 72 or 73 season, watching the Buffalo Sabres play in their expansion year. And after the game, I was down collecting autographs. This is where I first saw Tim Horton. He was sitting right here, and he had no shirt on, big chiseled guy after the game, sweating. Players were walking in and out. And you can see right out the door here, and I was standing out there, and he just looked up at me, very quiet. He's a very quiet guy. And I said, Mr. Horton? He goes, yes. I said, can I have your autograph? He goes, sure. He gets up, he walks out, signs the autograph, he comes back in, he says, why don't you just wait here? He says, I'll take you out to the rink. So he goes, I'll introduce you to some of my friends, actually. And it was the rest of the Buffalo Sabres hockey team, 1974. And I talked with him, and he said, I've got some business going here. It's one of my donut shops we've opened up. And I said, well, as a kid, I'd eat at your burger joint over on Lakeshore. And he says, yeah, we shut that one down. He goes, that burger business didn't do so good. But we walked out, and he started talking. And as we were talking, we were walking. And next thing I knew, we ended up at the Tim Hortons store. And the staff really didn't know who he was. He walked in, and they said, oh, hi, what do you guys want? He bought me a donut. I had it was an orange twist. I'll never forget that. This is this guy that was on that card. This is the guy I saw on TV. I was mesmerized. I remember the presence there. I'll never, ever forget that. So in 1968, every year, start of the season, we'd have a team photo, and team after team would come through here, and they'd have the set of chairs. And this is where our team photo was put together. So my chair would have been right where you're standing. And that's what it looks like from each year. So this is the first year I played with the Canet hockey team. All these hockey players were only hockey players. I didn't realize that there was life after hockey for them. And his whole vision was understanding societal shifts. That would be suburbia being built. That would be the automobile, and that would be the franchising business. That inspired me to go into business. And that's when I went to school, and I knew I had to blend the world of sports with business. I ended up working in the beverage alcohol business, and that's what got me this chance meeting with a shirt supplier, and I started supplying champagne to the Jays locker room in 89, 90, 91, 92 when they won the World Series, all the spraying champagne. During that window, I reflected back on these hockey players and I said, these athletes are undervalued. All the marquee athletes are the ones that are getting all the big endorsement deals, the Michael Jordans, the Wayne Gretzky's. That left an entire world open. Nobody at that point had brought a pure, like a business model expertise to what I call non-marquee athletes. So this is where I learned how to play hockey. And we'd get our equipment dressed. I'd walk over from the house with my stick and skates. We'd put our skates on in there, and then we'd all come out, and if it was exceptionally cold, you'd play a shift and you go right back into the building, because at points it was minus 30, 40 degrees at points. The snow would build up so high that you would be standing here, and when your line time for shift, you would just jump right over the boards. And then we didn't even have gates. Everything was just, you had to come off of like the one main gate here, and that was it. A defining moment was when I was invited to the hallowed office of the Toronto Blue Jays to meet the assistant general manager. Surrounded by symbols of sports excellence, heroes that had once roamed those halls, I felt the culmination of my journey. It was as if that 7-year-old boy was sitting right next to me, thinking, can you believe this? That meeting with Gord Ash validated my vision. I'm an individual not known to anybody in the sports world. He brought me in because he saw something. He saw that I had a way of changing the way athletes were marketed. He was a mentor. I put my business experience, my grocery experience, my sales experience with these athletes and my marketing, and I put that together, and that's when I created KMAC, and that set me up on the path of success that allowed me to start my own business. It was his inspiration. Life has a curious way of turning simple moments into profound milestones. Holding that Tim Horton hockey card as a child wasn't just a fleeting memory. It marked the dawn of the bigger picture game. From small to medium-sized businesses to working with Fortune 500 companies, we stand at the intersection of sports and leadership, guiding, inspiring, and bringing clarity to help leaders chart their own paths. In the face of challenges and triumphs, our vision is our North Star, providing purpose and direction. It answers the crucial question, where do you go from here? Because our journey is never ending, it's a continuous evolution building upon each moment in memory, propelling us ever forward.